Hello, welcome to the Drama Spot. It's Miss Liz, and we're going to talk about adaptability, our core skill for the month. Adaptability is when you encounter a situation or circumstances that are not what you expected, and you are able to continue on to change yourself, your decisions, your behavior in order to meet the changing circumstances and environment that you find yourself in. We encounter situations all the time that are not what we expected. I don't think there's anybody that can say life has always gone exactly the way that I thought it would. There are always things every day, small things, big things that come our way that are not what we were prepared for and not what we anticipated. And when we are able to be adaptable and have strong adaptability, we can roll with those punches. We can go with the flow and not carry along all the emotional weight that can pop up when we face unexpected change. And let's talk about that for a second because humans, by default, aren't crazy about change. It is our nature to resist it. It is our nature to feel fear when we realize that what we are encountering is something different than we were prepared for. If you think about it, it makes sense. Biologically, evolutionarily, we want to be prepared for the situation that's in front of us. And when we are not prepared, when the situation is different than we thought, we are going to respond with at least a little bit of fear. And I know for some of your kids, that's a lot of bit of fear. So, what do we do about all this fear? I have a really great tip that I give to anybody who's experiencing stage fright, whether it is a young child or an adult, experienced or new. What I like to say is, you're not scared, you're excited. And that mental shift can sometimes be enough to help people reinterpret the physiological signals that their body is giving them. Because let's break this down. When you are scared and when you are excited, you have a lot of the same nervous system responses going on. Your adrenaline is pumping, you're feeling those butterflies, your heart rate might be increasing, maybe you're getting sweaty and clammy. If you pay attention the next time that you are scared and the next time that you are excited, they feel very, very similar. And so it comes down to our brain's interpretation of these signals that our body is sending us. And so as we practice and we put ourselves in situations where we are feeling scared, we can practice retraining our brain to think, maybe I don't have to be scared. Maybe I can choose to be excited instead. And it is way easier said than done. Believe me, I know, especially as we get into the younger kids who are still learning to control absolutely everything about themselves. It is not as simple as it sounds. But this is where we practice. This is where we just keep doing it and keep exposing our students to these opportunities to learn. And so in our classes, when we're focusing on adaptability, in our older students, we will be doing a lot of improv. We love a good improv game at the Drama Spot. Improv practices so many of the core skills that we focus on, and adaptability is right there at the heart of it. You never know what your scene partner is going to say. You hardly ever know what you're going to say. And so you have to be ready for anything. And yes, that can be very scary. But as you do it more and more and more, it just becomes exciting and fun. And so the more that kids or adults get to practice doing improv games and get a little more comfortable in the uncomfortable, the faster their brain can switch and adapt to changing circumstances. So we do a lot of improv. In our younger students, we're going to scaffold this a little bit more. We're going to give them a little more structure for them to lean on as they encounter one piece of change at a time. And so we may shake up our Drama Spot routines a little bit, and we may do things in a different order than we usually do them. But we will give the kids a heads up about this. We'll talk them through it. We'll really walk them through the emotional journey of encountering change and having to adapt to it so that they're not out there on their own. They're not floundering, but they have the support that they need to venture on into this exciting new chapter. We have some suggestions in our blog post about ways that you can cultivate adaptability in your kids at home. For our youngest kids, maybe change up how you're seated at dinner. If you are a family that always has the same seats at the dinner table, propose getting new seats and be ready for your kids to resist that, to not want to sit in a different seat. This is their seat, or to not to want to still sit next to you and not sit next to brother over here, and all of those feelings that are going to come up. Be there with them, acknowledge their feelings, let them know that, yeah, I know it is a little scary, but isn't it also a little bit exciting? And help them kind of start to see the balance between those emotions. As you get a little bit older, you can do things like have your elementary age student make their bed a different way, or if you sneak in there and make the bed for them, put the pillow at the foot of their bed and just switch everything around, so that suddenly they are encountering a situation that, yes, they can absolutely handle this. They can remake their bed or sleep in it a different way. They can do that. They will be okay, but it will spark some feelings. They will walk into the room and be like, whoa, 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 right? And some kids more than others. So being there for them, helping them name and identify and understand the feelings that they're having, and then see if you can re-coach them to think about them a little bit differently. As we get older, you can challenge your middle school students to go 6 hours without their phone or their device. You may need to provide a little bit of an incentive at this age. I know they don't want to let it go, but boredom is magic. If you can get your kids of any age to a place where they are bored, keep pushing, let them go. Don't fix that problem for them, because they will tap into all of their native core skills to get themselves out of boredom. And they will adapt to that situation. I promise you, they will adapt. They will find a way to fix their boredom, because boredom is such a motivator. It is such a driver, and it is where creativity comes into play. It's where resilience and critical thinking, all of the core skills come into play when you are in a state of boredom. So encourage that in your older students, and just see what happens. I hope this was helpful and gave you a couple tips that you can use at home. And we'll see you next time at the Drama Spot. Thanks so much for joining. Bye.